What up, Coach Colin Castello here with ShotMechanics Basketball, and welcome to our Versus series. This is where we compare up-and-coming prospects with current and past NBA legends. And today, we've got Lonzo Ball compared with Jason Kidd. All right, before I get started, I also want to let you know that this video is brought to you by our official recruiting partner, Captain U. And Captain U is my favorite recruiting tool, and that's why we partnered with them, because the recruiting process can be really difficult, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But Captain U simplifies everything for you and makes it very easy to accomplish. All right, so my guys over there are hooking you up. If you hit the button above or the link in the description, they're going to give you a free recruiting profile where you can do your picture, you can do highlights, you can do stats, your GPA, all that sort of good stuff that coaches want to see. It's really professional. You have it all in one spot. That way you can share it with coaches all around the world. All right, we want to see your success, and so I'm going to sweeten the pot for you even more. So if you sign up through our link down below, I'm also going to give all players that have registered through Captain U my free game time shooting workout at the first of each month. That means you're going to get my college ready shooting workout absolutely free just by signing up for the profile. That way, once the coaches do see you play, you're going to be nothing but lights out. So on the first of every month, keep an eye on your email inbox because we're going to have that workout and some other sweet freebies coming your direction. All right, so now we got your recruiting process all set up. Let's talk about Lonzo Ball versus Jason Kidd. Now, Lonzo Ball is a dynamic freshman at UCLA that's absolutely been tearing it up this season. Now, what I love most about Lonzo is he doesn't necessarily need to score a ton to affect the game dramatically. His assist, passing, and playmaking is something that truly makes him special. And when I watch Lonzo play, he reminds me of a little bit longer, a little bit more explosive Jason Kidd. So today what we did is we went back in the archive, found some old Jason Kidd footage, and we paired them together with the new Lonzo Ball footage. And what you're going to see is that they're very similar players. Now, as I walk you through some of the similarities of their style of play, I want you to think about your own game and see how you can take some of these attributes and add them to yours. All right, so let's jump right into it and start with comparing them on the defensive end of the floor. Now, Jay Kidd and Lonzo Ball are a little bit different when it comes to defense. You'll notice that they're both really good at their timing and jumping the passing lanes to get those steals out in transition. And this was one reason why Jason Kidd was so good at igniting the fast break, and it's something that I see a ton with Lonzo Ball, especially because he's got longer arms, can get in those passing lanes a lot easier. And you can remember with vintage Jason Kidd, he would get a steal and then launch into a one-man fast break, blistering down the court. And we see that exact same thing with Lonzo Ball. Watch on this next play as he uses his length to steal the basketball and then pushes in transition as the fastest player, finding an open teammate for the three. The more I watch Lonzo on defense, the more his timing and anticipation looks a lot like Jason Kidd. And as you can see, as we stack these old vintage Jason Kidd clips back to back, they really look similar. Now, what's really scary to think about is Lonzo Ball's actually more explosive on the defensive end than Jason Kidd was. While Kidd was an absolute legend at timing and position, Lonzo is a freak who's got really long arms and can get up and block shots with his high vertical leap. Just imagine if Jay Kidd grew an inch, had longer arms, and could get up and meet dudes at the rim. Now, this is really important when you think of Lonzo as a prospect because I picture him matching up with guys like Russell Westbrook. Imagine having his length and his athleticism to deter some of those shots. So it's freaky to think about how good he could possibly be if he developed that knack for that position and body control like Jason Kidd had. All right, so as you can see, Lonzo's athleticism is absolutely off the charts, and this comes into play on the defensive end of the floor quite a bit. Now, Jason Kidd was a little bit better of a position-style defender, like he was really good at taking charges, kind of getting in there and digging the ball out. But what Lonzo's really good at is using that length to either go up and block shots or get in the passing lanes. So what you want to do is think about your own body type and athleticism and what type of defender that's going to make you. Growing up, I wasn't somebody who was going to go pin shots on the backboard, so instead I was more like Jason Kidd, where I would try to take charges, be in position, and be a little bit more scrappy. Because if you can tailor your defensive style to your body type, that's going to help you a ton and it's going to make you more effective on the court. All right, now moving on, let's talk about their outside shooting. Now, when it comes to shooting, I think Lonzo Ball's actually more polished than Jason Kidd was at this age. Now, a lot of people look at Lonzo's kind of unorthodox shooting mechanics and assume that it's not going to translate to the NBA. Now, with Lonzo's mechanics, he's got a little bit of a sidewinder shot, but Jason Kidd had a snake bite and some fluidity issues as well. But like we always talk about at ShotMechanics, everyone's going to have their own unique jump shot, and I think Lonzo's really close to tweaking and dialing his jumper to be just perfect. And you'll notice that Lonzo also has that NBA-ready range, so I don't think that the transition is going to be difficult for him at all. So what's crazy to think about is Lonzo's already ahead of Kidd in his development at this age, but Kidd ended up being the number 5 all-time three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. So I think there's no doubt in my mind that Lonzo can not only turn into a capable NBA three-point shooter, but also a deadly one at that. Somebody who's able to create his own shot, off of separation, off of the dribble. Now, when you compare their games at the same age, Lonzo's already ahead of Jason Kidd when it comes to hitting outside shots. He can already create his own three-point shot with a variety variety of step backs, pullbacks, and that sort of thing. Now, the outside jumper's never been more important in the NBA than it is now, so I think it's definitely important that he continues to develop that outside jumper, and if he does, he can be a really scary prospect. Now, neither player is really what we would call a lights-out shooter, but I really do think that Lonzo has a little bit of room for improvement on his jumper, and I think he's going to get better and better as time goes on. And I think he's going to be a really consistent three-point shooter in the NBA. And what's interesting is that's the same way people thought about Jason Kidd when he came into the league. He didn't actually take a ton of three-pointers, but he developed himself into a capable three-point shooter, and is actually now number 5 all-time on the list of most three-pointers made. So I think it's going to be pretty easy, and with just a few minor mechanical tweaks, I think Lonzo can become a very consistent NBA three-point shooter, probably even better than Jason Kidd. All right, now that we compared their outside game, it's time to talk about their finishing. When it comes to finishing, I see a lot of similarities between Lonzo Ball and a young Jason Kidd. Both are phenomenal at finding the right attack angle and finishing with crafty finishes around the basket. So one of the most important factors when it comes to finishing around the basket is your footwork. And just like Jason Kidd, Lonzo's really good at getting his feet planted and set no matter where he's trying to go. So it really doesn't matter if there's bigs coming across the lane to help or guards trying to slide in for a charge. Both Lonzo and a young Jason Kidd are able to slide by the defender and finish easily around the basket. You also notice that a lot of their finishes come from that breakneck style of play, where they get out in transition and get easy finishes because they outrun the defense. Now, a lot of people also forget that a young Jason Kidd wasn't afraid to go up to the rim and smash it. And honestly, Lonzo's taking that athleticism to the next level. He's not afraid to meet anybody at the rim anytime. And so I really like all my players to be super versatile when it comes to finishing around the basket. I like them to be able to finish with power, using their body, drawing the contact, and I also like them to be able to use finesse, things like Euro steps, finishing high off the glass, that sort of thing. And as I look at Lonzo Ball and compare him to Jason Kidd, that's what I love most about his finishing abilities. Is it doesn't really matter how the defense plays him, he's going to have a situation that he's going to have a chance to score. But with Lonzo, I keep coming back to the athleticism. Sure, J-Kidd could get up and cram it if he wanted to, but with Lonzo Ball, it's terrifying. They're running back pick alley-oops for him. His teammates are throwing the ball off the glass for him to go get it. It's absolutely insane. I'm talking about like Russell Westbrook style athleticism. And most of the time when you see guys that are this crazy athletic come into the NBA, they're nowhere near as polished skill-wise as Lonzo is. So as you saw, Kidd was an absolute master at using his body to initiate contact and protect the basketball when finishing around the basket. Now Lonzo's a little bit different. He doesn't do a ton of that, but as you saw, he is absolutely explosive when it comes to finishing around the rim. Some of the dunks and alley-oops that we've seen are something that we rarely see from point guards, so his NBA athleticism is all ready to go. So again, I can't preach it enough. Think about your own body type and athleticism, and if you can train your game that direction, you're gonna be really effective. And now we're here for their main event, their passing. We all know Jason Kidd was a beast when it comes to passing the basketball, and in fact, he's number 2 on the NBA all-time assist list. And what was most impressive about Kidd as a passer is he didn't need to score a ton of points to dramatically affect the game, and I see the exact same thing in Lonzo. It doesn't matter if they're scoring a bunch of points, they're still setting up their teammates, getting easy baskets. And sure, both guys can pass with a little bit of flair, but what you'll notice is a lot of times they make the right pass, not necessarily the fancy pass. And there's some other major similarities that Lonzo shares with Jason Kidd that most all great passers have. So the first thing is that they both have deceptive eyes. Many of the greatest passers of all time use their eyes to manipulate the defenders and to get their teammates open. And Lonzo is already looking NBA level when it comes to shifting the defense by just a little glance or a little look in one direction. People rarely realize how important the eyes are on offense, and especially when it comes to passing. Now, the next thing you notice about their passing is that they're also great in transition. They push tempo and then make the right pass at full speed. This is where a lot of players struggle. They get out of control or push the pace too much, and then it makes it hard to make an accurate pass. But with Lonzo, he's just like a young Jason Kidd where he drops the ball in a dime, sometimes putting his teammates to an open spot even if they don't know it. You'll also notice that most elite level passers are going to make quick decisions when it comes to getting rid of the basketball. If you look at the all-time great passers, guys like Jason Kidd, you notice that they rarely hold the basketball for long periods of time. It's a quick decision, it's out of their hands, and keeping the ball moving. And Lonzo's already showing a ton of this at the college level. He makes a really quick decision, many times with just a touch or a tip pass. The next major similarity I noticed in their passing is that they pass teammates open, not always just passing to open teammates. And what I mean by that is they lead their teammates where they need to go to get an open jump shot. This might be on the fast break to get an open layup, or it might be a kick out to a three-point shooter to slide them somewhere along the line to get an open shot. Now, this skill of passing teammates open is something that's very rare and is really only done by the great point guards. And so it's one of the major factors why I think that Lonzo Ball is going to be special in the NBA. Now, as you can see, both players were absolute speed demons in transition and phenomenal at pushing the ball and seeing plays happen before they do. But what impresses me most about Lonzo that reminds me a ton of a young Jason Kidd is that he doesn't need to be super flashy to make every single teammate on the floor better. Even some of those simple passes where he's leading his teammates to open three-point shots are something that a lot of young guards can't do. And when you combine that skill with his crazy athleticism, we might be looking at something we've never seen before, and it's super exciting to think about what he can translate into the NBA. All right, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, hit that like button down below and then head to the comment section down below that and let me know what sort of comparison you want to see next. I always say this is a channel for the people, by the people, and I run pretty much everything off request, so leave it down below and hopefully I'll be able to get to it. Also, don't forget, if you want that free game time shooting workout when we drop it and set up your free recruiting profile, hit that link to get to Captain U down below and set it up today. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castell with ShotMechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.